Hey everyone.
This video isn't one of my regular videos. This video is for my kids, to Zayden and Raelynn. If you're watching this, it means I'm not around to tell you these stories myself, and that hurts more than I could ever explain. But I needed to leave you something real, something that's me. These are the stories that helped me through the darkest times of my life. They taught me how to be strong, how to care, how to keep going when everything felt like it was falling apart. And now, I'm passing them on to you. Not because I want you to love superheroes like I did, but because I want you to have the lessons that saved me when nothing else could. Because I want you to know me, and I want you to know yourselves. This isn't a video for views, this is a message from your dad, one you can always come back to. I love you both more than anything. Now let me tell you a story. The Kid Who Collects Spider-Man. This story starts with a newspaper clipping from the Daily Bugle. The newspaper clipping is telling us about a 9-year-old boy named Tim Harrison. He prefers not to be called Timothy, who collects Spider-Man. His room is full of newspaper clippings, photos, everything Spidey. One night, Spider-Man shows up at his window after seeing the newspaper article about him. Tim asks him everything, how he got his powers, why he became a hero, and Peter opens up like he never does. He tells Tim the story of Uncle Ben and how one bad choice, not stopping a criminal when he could have, led to that man killing his uncle. That moment changed everything. The lesson? That with great power must also come great responsibility. That doing nothing, even when you can help, is the same as letting something bad happen. But there's more to it than just guilt. Peter keeps fighting because it's right. Because when you can help someone and choose to, that's what makes you a hero. And before he leaves, Spider-Man takes off his mask and tells Tim his real name, Peter Parker. Because Tim deserves to know. Because sometimes, the most heroic thing you can do is just be honest with someone who looks up to you. But here's the part that hits the hardest. We find out that Tim is dying. He's in the hospital with cancer, and he only has a few weeks left. And that makes Peter's visit mean even more. Because Tim didn't want to just know Spider-Man. He wanted to understand why he does what he does. And Peter didn't show up as a superhero. He showed up as a human being. This story teaches us that who you really are, your mistakes, your pain, your heart, is what gives your actions meaning. And even in the short time we have, we can make a difference. Stories like that one remind us that being a hero isn't about powers. It's about choices, about standing up, even when it hurts. And no one lives that truth more than Daredevil. His story in Born Again is about losing everything, and still finding a way to keep fighting. If Spider-Man taught us the meaning of responsibility, Daredevil shows us what it means to survive when the world tries to break you. Daredevil Born Again. Now, Born Again isn't just a Daredevil story. It's a story about what happens when everything is taken from you, and what kind of a person you really are when you've got nothing left. It starts with Matt Murdock's secret. His identity is Daredevil. It's sold out by someone he trusted. That information ends up in the hands of the Kingpin. And Kingpin doesn't just try to kill Matt. He breaks him systematically. Destroys his job, his home, his reputation, leaves him with no money, no friends, and nowhere to go. Piece by piece, he dismantles Matt's entire life. And the crazy part? Matt doesn't fight back with fists right away. He's not Daredevil in costume. He's just a broken man trying to survive day by day. But here's the lesson. Even when he's at rock bottom, Matt never loses his sense of who he is. He still protects people. He still tries to do what's right. Because being a hero isn't something you put on. It's something you hold on to. And eventually, he rises back up. Not because someone saves him, but because he finds the strength inside himself. Born Again teaches us that life will try to tear you down. People might betray you. The world might be unfair. But no one can take your heart unless you let them. And sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is get back up and keep moving forward, even when it feels impossible. Daredevil showed us how to fight when the world takes everything from you. But what if the world gives you everything you've ever wanted? That's where Superman comes in. And for the man who has everything, we see what happens when the strongest hero faces the hardest choice of all. Letting go of the perfect life for the sake of doing what's right. For the man who has everything. This story starts on Superman's birthday, but instead of gifts and cake, He's been trapped by a parasite called the Black Mercy. It's not a monster that fights with punches, it fights with dreams. It gives Superman a vision of his deepest desires. A perfect life on Krypton, where the planet never exploded, where he has a family, a wife, a child. Peace, love, a normal life. In that world, he's not Superman. He's just Kal-El. And for a while, he wants to believe it's real. Because the pain of losing Krypton has haunted him his whole life. But slowly, he realizes that something's wrong, that it's all fake, and that he has a choice to make. Stay in this perfect dream forever, or wake up, return to reality, and keep fighting for a world that needs him. And here's the lesson. Sometimes doing the right thing means walking away from what makes you happy, so you can help others. Superman could have stayed in that fantasy, but he didn't. Because being a hero isn't about having everything. It's about sacrificing everything when it matters. This story teaches us that real strength isn't found in power. It's found in your choices, and in your willingness to face the truth, no matter how painful it is. Superman's story showed us how painful it can be to give up the life you wish you had. But sometimes, life doesn't give you a choice. Sometimes the people you love most get taken from you, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. That's what happened to Spider-Man the night Gwen Stacy died. This story is one of the most tragic moments in comic book history, and one of the most important lessons Spider-Man ever had to learn. The story hits hard right away. The Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, has figured out who Spider-Man really is. And to hurt him where it really counts, he kidnaps Gwen Stacy, Peter's girlfriend, and he takes her to the top of the Brooklyn Bridge. He just throws her off. Peter reacts fast. He fires a web, catches her by the leg just before she hits the water. But when he pulls her up, she's already gone. And in that moment, Peter realizes something unthinkable. The sudden stop might have killed her. Maybe she's already dead when she fell. Maybe he wasn't fast enough. And maybe trying to save her the way he did actually caused her death. There's no clear answer, and that's the point. This story teaches us that sometimes doing your best still isn't enough. That even heroes can lose the ones they love. And that when it happens, you don't get to quit. Peter didn't stop being Spider-Man. He didn't become bitter or cruel. He carried that pain and he used it to keep doing good. Because that's what Gwen would have wanted. And that's the lesson. We don't always get to save everyone, but we do get to decide what we do next. Spider-Man's story shows us how loss can shape us. How even the deepest pain doesn't have to break who we are. But every hero's journey has an ending. So for the last story in this video, we look at whatever happened to the Caped Crusader. A powerful farewell to Batman, and a reflection of what it truly means to be a hero. Not just in the moment, but for the legacy you leave behind. Whatever happened to the Caped Crusader? This one isn't your typical Batman story. It's not about a villain or a case to solve. It's a funeral. Batman is dead. And one by one, the people who knew him, his friends, his allies, even his enemies, show up to say goodbye. But here's the twist. Every person tells a different story. Everyone has their own version of how Batman died, of who he was and what he meant. Some say he went out fighting. Some say he was broken. Others say he was something more than human. None of their stories match. And that's the lesson. Everyone sees you differently. People will create their own version of your story. Some will love you, some will misunderstand you, but in the end, the only thing that really matters is how you lived. Batman didn't define himself by what others thought. He defined himself by his choices, his actions, and his heart. And even in death, he wasn't looking for praise. He was looking for peace. This story reminds us you can't control how the world sees you, but you can control the legacy you leave behind. These stories might come from comics, but the lessons in them are real. These stories shape the way I see the world. They taught me about pain, about strength, about doing what's right even when it's hard. They reminded me that even when life knocks you down, you always have the power to stand back up. Zayden and Raelynn, if there ever comes a time where I'm not around to tell you these stories myself, I hope this video helps you understand who I am, and the kind of people I hope you'll grow up to be. Kind, brave, and honest. The world's not easy, but you can still be the good in it. You can still be someone who makes a difference. And just like the heroes in these stories, never forget, the smallest choice can change someone's life, even your own. I love you both more than words can ever say, always.